Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where we talk about gaming on the Steam Deck. Today we're going to be reviewing One Military Camp. It's a wartime simulation game developed by Abylight. That's a Barcelona-based indie game studio that actually sent me an email and asked me if I can check this game and do a review of specifically how it runs on the Steam Deck. They recently released an update to their game, and that update includes Steam Deck support. In fact, the Steam Deck version is an entirely different version of the game, and today we're going to be checking that out. The game is a mix of management, city building and strategy, which makes it quite complex. You need to keep an eye out on your resources and logistics while placing buildings efficiently. You need to hire staff to keep everything running and setting up training courses. You also need to build defenses to prevent enemy spies and drones from sabotaging your camp. Managing your recruits' training, schedules and well-being is key to success. You need to adapt to different biomes, research technologies and upgrades for your camp, and recruit the best candidates to join your forces. Completing missions is another important aspect of the game. You need to balance your squad to be able to complete all the missions, as each one will require different specialties. The game has a campaign mode with over 100 missions and absurd humor and references to war movies. Now let's talk about how the game actually plays on the Steam Deck. The game is capped at 30 FPS, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, as none of the actions require you to play at 60 FPS or require you to have more smooth gameplay. Now, the interesting thing here is that the Steam Deck version is entirely different from the PC version, with way fewer graphical options present in the options menu. If you check here, the PC version allows you to change the graphical options, allows you to change the refresh rate, as well as other options. So it would seem that the Steam Deck version is actually a bit cut down. Now, the developers have probably opted to do this in order to increase the battery life. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it would have been cool to give us the option to decide for ourselves if we want to choose between fidelity and performance. You're unable to use the touchscreen on the Steam Deck, which isn't a big deal because the game wasn't designed with touch controls in mind, even though it looks like it could be a good game on Android or iOS devices. The controls are pretty good for a builder simulation game, but I still tried to use the touchscreen on more than a few occasions, only to end up frustrated and proceed to navigate using the joysticks. The game doesn't support keyboard and mouse input on the Steam Deck even after changing controller templates. This may be a minor issue for some, but it can be a deal breaker for those who prefer to use keyboard and mouse, even on the deck. One minor issue I encountered while playing the game on the Steam Deck is that sometimes the cursor overlaps with some of the text, making it difficult to read. One benefit of the game being capped at 30 FPS is that you can get more than 3 hours of battery life on the deck. This may be one of the reasons why the developers chose to limit graphics and FPS and make an entirely different version of the game for the Steam Deck. Another good thing about the game is that you can easily access your Steam Deck save file on PC and vice versa, making it simple to switch between devices. Now, the game currently costs 24 euros, which is a bit steep for this type of game, especially in early access. The developers have outlined a roadmap for the future and plan to include a sandbox mode, amongst other things like new biomes and social media integration. So how does the current state of the game look in early access? Well, the game has the full campaign mode with over 100 missions, tutorials and the complete story. The developers estimate that the current content will take about 20 hours to complete, and they plan to increase the content during the early access period. They also have planned to add new game modes like sandbox and challenges, customization elements and more languages. They have already implemented some of the suggestions from the community, and they plan to continue listening to feedback during the early access period. The game is not without its flaws, but it's a fun game to play on the go and it's well suited for the Steam Deck. Overall, One Military Camp is a promising game in early access, and the developers have a clear roadmap for the future. They are listening to the community and implementing feedback, which is always a good sign. If you're a fan of strategy and management games, this is one out to watch for. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.